Hey guys, it is I, Kuroninja, and it's been a long time since the last part of the Kakuranger rewatch, but I'm back and I'm ready to continue looking back at one of the greatest Sentai seasons. Now, when the Daimao arc first began, not much happened. The series went back to its Yokai of the Week formula, but there were still a few important things that happened. Episode 35 hinted at the secret good nature of the Flowery Kunoichi team's Purple Ranger, and episodes 36 and 37 introduced Ninja Man. Daimao teased that Ninja Man would eventually join him, and I think these next three episodes are the start of a big shift in the status quo. So without further ado, let's start with episode 42. The episode starts with Daimao creating the yokai in this episode, Dara Dara. He mentions how he plans to use Dara Dara to take down the Kakurangers and the three god generals, and to do that, he's first gonna target Ninja Man. However, this is overheard by Hakumenro, who tells Boon and his two dogs to relay the message to the Kakurangers. Later, the Kakurangers are selling crepes while Ninja Man is there. Tsuruhime starts to think about her father, when suddenly, the Flowery Kunoichi team attack. The Kakurangers fight off against the Flowery Kunoichi team, who are stronger than the last time the Kakurangers fought against them. In fact, Ran delivers two strikes on both Ninja White and Ninja Black in this fight, probably so that no one suspects that she's not evil. During the fight, Ninja Man is led into a trap and gets ambushed by Dara Dara. Now Dara Dara doesn't let go of Ninja Man, so Ninja Man turns into a giant to get him off. However, Dara Dara also grows big and takes Ninja Man to Daimao's throne room, but not before absorbing his power first. Daimao then orders Dara Dara to go back for the next phase of their plan. Dara Dara returns and the Kakurangers are reluctant to summon Kakure Daishogun, but they do it anyway. Kakure Daishogun faces off against Dara Dara and almost gets defeated until Tsubasa Maru shows up. Then the two combine to form Super Kakure Daishogun, who seemingly defeats Dara Dara, but because the yokai absorb Ninja Man's power, he survives the attack and takes on a second form that has pieces of Ninja Man's armor. Muteki Shogun then shows up and it looks like the Kakurangers have the advantage. But then it's revealed that every time they deal damage to Dara Dara, Ninja Man takes the damage instead. This turns the tide against the Kakurangers, who are defeated by Dara Dara, who then approaches the mecha to absorb the Kakurangers' power. And this is where episode 42 ends, at a cliffhanger. After a long time getting used to Daimao as the main villain, this is the part where the series starts to move the plot further. Ninja Man technically did join Daimao as he got captured and his powers were used by Dara Dara to defeat the Kakurangers in this episode. Now, the one thing I hadn't mentioned in this episode was the plot line with Tsuruhime and her father, Hakumenro. I've already talked about how I don't find Hakumenro an interesting character. The problem is that we already know that he's secretly helping the Kakurangers, which in my opinion ruins a lot of potential Hakumenro could have as a villain. In fact, for most of the episode, he just stands there. All the Hakumenro stuff aside though, this is a good episode. One thing I liked about it was the fight at the beginning. Sasuke was trying to fight against Yuri, but the Orange Ranger of the Flowery Kunoichi team was too fast for him. Since these episodes are an important part of the season, I know that the Flowery Kunoichi team will appear a lot in episodes 43 and 44. This episode continues where episode 42 left off, with Dara Dara about to take down the Kakurangers. However, they are teleported out of there by the three god generals, who reveal that in order to stop this yokai, they might have to sacrifice Ninja Man. But the Kakurangers don't want to see Ninja Man get hurt anymore. The three god generals also reveal something we already know, that Hakumenro was good the whole time and was spying on Daimao. It's about time that the Kakurangers found out. But anyway, the Kakurangers are told to find him. At the same time, Hakumenro is trying to find Dara Dara's weakness after hearing something about a second phase in Daimao's plan. He remembers how Daimao has been moving his arms to control Dara Dara's attacks. But what he doesn't know is that Daimao was standing behind him. The Kakurangers go up to Boon, who reluctantly takes them to the place where he meets Hakumenro because they already know that he's not evil. What they don't know is that there's another member of the Yokai Army Corps who's not evil, and Sasuke senses her and the rest of the Flowery Kunoichi team nearby. So does Hakumenro, who jumps out to fight the Kakurangers, but in the fight, he tells them to run away. It's then revealed that Daimao knew all along that Hakumenro was working against him, and that he only kept him around as part of his plan to defeat the Kakurangers with Daradara. Daimao then vaporizes Hakumenro. The Kakurangers try to transform, but they can't because there's a barrier. They fight anyway though, taking on the Flowery Kunoichi team. The camera didn't focus on Ran that much during this fight, but there was a moment where Jiraiya and Ran were fighting each other. I've mentioned before how Jiraiya always had the upper hand against Ran. I've also said that Ran had been losing on purpose in those fights. In this episode, Ran defeats Jiraiya like it was nothing, and she even uses one of her powers to take down Saizo. So if Ran had been throwing fights against the Kakurangers to give them an advantage against the Yokai Army Corps, why is she going all out in this fight? Well, keep in mind that before the fight, Daimao made an example of Hakumenro to show what he does to traitors. So Ran is obviously fighting the Kakurangers with more strength so that she doesn't end up with the same fate as Hakumenro. Anyway, during the fight, Sasuke falls off a cliff into the water, similar to how he fell down a bridge while being chased by the Flowery Kunoichi team at the end of episode 15. Daimao captures the rest of the Kakurangers and has Daradara absorb their powers. The episode ends with Daradara destroying the city, now with the Kakurangers' power. The three god generals are then challenged to show up, but if they attack Daradara this time, they won't just deal damage to Ninja Man, they'll also deal damage to the Kakurangers. The episode ends with Daradara continuing his rampage, Sasuke running from the Flowery Kunoichi team, and the rest of the Kakurangers being trapped in Daimao's palace with Ninja Man. Like the last episode, this episode was really good. It finally put an end to the plot thread of the Kakurangers not knowing if they can trust Hakumenro. The stakes have also been raised even more. I think this episode is what makes Daimao believable as the main antagonist of the series, but this three-parter isn't over yet. It's time for episode 44. Episode 44 starts with the three god generals continuing the fight against Daradara, who now has the power of the Kakurangers except Sasuke, who is being attacked by the Flowery Kunoichi team. The rest of the Kakurangers and Ninja Man are taking damage in Daimao's palace, and it looks like Daimao's plan is working. But on Sasuke's side of the fight, he's about to be finished off by the Flowery Kunoichi team, until he is saved by Bun and the two dogs, who transform into human form. Sasuke then ends up in a cave where we find out that the two dogs are actually Taro and Jiro, the companions of Tsuruhime's dad who went missing on their journey to fight the yokai. They were captured by Daimao, but then Tsuruhime's dad made a deal to join the forces of the yokai to spare their lives. But as a consequence, they were turned into dogs. It's also revealed that Bun is a yokai. Sasuke then finds out that Hakumenro figured out Daradara's weakness. Daradara was created from Daimao, so if Daimao takes damage, then it will also be felt by Daradara. He also learns that Taro and Jiro can only stay in human form for a limited time, and this is the last time that they can ever do that. With this new information, Sasuke becomes determined to save his teammates and defeat Daradara, so he rushes into the yokai mansion and slashes Daimao, which also deals a lot of damage to Daradara. He then frees the Kakurangers and they face off against the Flowery Kunoichi team and the Dorodoros. Now here's the thing, this fight is supposed to be where you're supposed to cheer for the Kakurangers, and I was excited to see the Kakurangers get back up after 2 episodes struggling against the seemingly invincible yokai. But in this battle, Sasuke did something that I find unforgivable. He immediately attacked Ran cold-blooded with his sword, not giving any chance for her to react. It's possible that if Sasuke wasn't so cruel to Ran in this battle, the Kakurangers would have gained an extra member in their team. But thanks to his disgraceful actions, she's still stuck with the Yokai Army Corps. Anyway, with the Kakurangers now back at full strength, Daimao grows into a giant. It looks like the Kakurangers are at a disadvantage once again, but Daimao makes the mistake of calling them novices. This angers Ninja Man enough that he transforms into Samurai Man. The Kakurangers also join in with Kakure Daishogun. Tsubasa Maru and Muteki Shogun also show up, and together they finish off Daradara and hurt Daimao enough for him to make his retreat. Daimao, now heavily wounded, goes back to his throne with anger against the Kakurangers. He gets Hakumenro, who turns out to still be alive, and blames him for his failure before turning him him into a statue. Then he lifts up his new base, the Skull Castle, which floats in the sky. Meanwhile, the Kakurangers celebrate Christmas together, and Tsuruhime learns about what happened to Taro and Jiro. Sasuke then tells her it's okay, because she'll always have the Kakurangers. I've mentioned before that the Kakurangers are like a found family, and this ending shows it. I've already said everything I could about Hakumenro. He is not my favorite villain, but these 3 episodes were very intense and fun to watch. When Daimao was introduced as the main villain, replacing Young Noble Jr., the series went back to having low stakes with the Kakurangers fighting the yokai of the week. I've mentioned it before, but Kakuranger isn't a series you watch for the story, but that makes episodes like these even more special. Now, Taro and Jiro are interesting characters. They seem to be the heroic versions of the Flowery Kunoichi team. I did mention earlier that dogs and cats are portrayed as rivals in popular media. The 2 of them were named after 2 dogs who were part of an expedition to Antarctica, or stranded there for about a year until they were found as the only confirmed survivors. This is similar to how Taro and Jiro and Kakuranger were believed missing until Sasuke found out that they became dogs after Tsuruhime's dad sacrificed himself. Another thing I want to mention is how this moment is another shift in the status quo of the season. The Yokai Army Corps now operate in the Skull Palace, and Daimao has turned Hakumenro into a statue. There will be more episodes that focus on the main plot since we're nearing the end, which means that the Flowery Kunoichi team will appear more. From what I remember, this is where some people might find counter evidence that goes against my theory that Ran, the Purple Ranger of the Flowery Kunoichi team and the very first Purple Ranger in all of Super Sentai, is not evil. But here's something you gotta keep in mind. In episode 43, the Flowery Kunoichi team witnessed Hakumenro get vaporized for being a traitor. And in episode 44, they saw him get turned to stone because Daimao was angry at him. Another thing you've got to keep in mind is that when Sasuke attacked Ran, he never gave her any chance to tell him anything, so the Kakurangers would be unaware that she's not evil. So Ran is in an unfortunate position. That doesn't mean she's turned evil though. There is a scene in episode 48 that I've used as evidence for the theory. We'll talk about it when we get there. For now, that is all for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, I have nothing to do with Kuroninja.